Millions of Americans are facing a steep rise in healthcare premiums after the Senate rejected rival proposals to address the issue. The House is expected to vote on a plan next week, but the Republican majority there remains split. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer railed against the GOP as the deadline for a deal looms.
Senate Republicans just shoved the American people off the side of a cliff with no parachute and with an anchor tied to their feet. Democrats did the work, but now Republicans chose the consequences.
CBS News congressional reporter Taurean Small joins us from Capitol Hill with more on this. Good morning, Taurean. You did predict and say that these plans were expected to fail in the Senate, but the votes didn't necessarily drop along party lines. Were there any surprises?
Yeah, Arrow, I mean, it didn't take a crystal ball to foresee that happening. Again, there wasn't consensus on either side for any of those plans. So what we saw ultimately happen was these largely party votes. But to point out what you just said there were some interesting votes in there, like Senator Josh Hawley from Missouri, a Republican and staunch Trump supporter, joined with Democrats to try to get their proposal across the finish line. That's a 3-year extension to the COVID-era Obamacare subsidy. And then we also saw when it came to the Republican bill, which would have been federal infusion into these health savings accounts instead of opting to extend that tax credit. We saw Rand Paul vote against the measure there. He came out pretty notably against it, saying that this isn't the pathway forward. But what does that look like for Senate Republicans and Democrats? I talked to Senator Tim Kaine 2 days ago, and he said heading into the vote that there are conversations continuing to happen. But again, we're looking at a very short window before those tax credits are set to expire, which is at the end of this year.
And so, Taurean, what comes next?
Well, we know in the House there's a Republican package headed to the House floor next week. Mike Johnson, the House Speaker, said that this is something that the conference came together on and will push forward. It's unlikely to include any of those Obamacare subsidies. Instead, he's opting for what he's calling a more long-term reform to the health care system. We also know that there's a discharge petition by Representative Brian Fitzpatrick that's seeing some bipartisan support there too. But here's what some lawmakers had to say about the pathway forward.
To me, it's just a basic reality. We need a short-term extension, and then let's talk about some deeper reforms. I think it will be used like a sledgehammer on us a year from now. The reality will be bad.
Yeah, Representative Bacon pointing out the obvious here that Democrats will run on health care in 2026. So he's saying, Republicans, it's time for us to get our acts together.
All right, Taurean Small on Capitol Hill. Thank you, Taurean.